And I was raised on a ranch, so it's not much different than just being outside, being tough. Like
So you had some outdoor like survival skills.
yeah,
Just growing up.
naturally, yeah.
Nice. And your mom was an alcoholic, and you said that at some point you went and did movie sets with your dad?
Yeah. Yes. Up until I would say, so my dad's been doing it ever since I was a kid. His first movie was, I think it was Dances with Wolves. Anything like that was Avengers, and we had to sign contracts. So just by the way.
But that was just pre-release or something?
Yeah, pre-release.
Okay.
For sure. But that was his first show, and that was like back in 1980 or 98, I think it was, or 89, one of the two. But so he's been doing them ever since I was little, and then so he was always away, and then I would say so I started doing drugs. My mom forgot to pick me up one day from the school because she was passed out drunk, and my boyfriend at the time took me to this trap house, and that was it. And I think in my freshman or sophomore year of high school.
What was that like? The trap house first? This was your first party experience?
No, not party, but it was first experience with hard drugs ever. There's like mushrooms, Molly, ecstasy, all that stuff. To me, in my mind, because I was young, it was like another drug. Like, let's party tonight, go do what we gotta do tomorrow. But when I walked into this house, there was just a pile of meth laying on the table.
That big?
It was like a pretty good sized pile. It was like, just a big old pile of drugs. And I had nowhere to go because my mom, I'm not going to walk all the way to Penrose, you know what I mean? And that's where he wanted to be. And I still didn't even get a hold of her till maybe like 8 or 9 o'clock or at night. And she was supposed to pick me up at like 3. So, it was kind of like that situation. That was like an everyday battle with my mom, though. But this time, I was like, well, I'm just going to go with my boyfriend. And then they were cleaning out light bulbs and all the whole 9.
To smoke in, right? That's what they use light bulbs for?
Mm-hmm. And so, and then we ended up doing that all night. And I had to go to school the next day. Instantly just started getting in trouble. The next morning, I went to the principal's office. I wasn't like, like tweaking, but I was not in control of myself anymore at that point. So I went to the principal's office, and then after that point, I just started skipping school a bunch.
How old were you at this point? It was the first time?
15, 16.
15, 16?
Yeah, and so...
Can I take you back just because I'm curious? What was that? Could you describe the trap house? Like, what was it like there?
It was clean.
Clean?
This is probably why it messed everything up for me, is because it was so clean. They had jobs. They were really functional addicts. They had nice cars, nice house. Like, they had kids. It was like a thing. Like, they were just so solid. Like, his girlfriend was cleaning his house. Like, it was super weird.
Fascinating. What was the scenario when you showed up? What was everybody doing?
I remember one guy. He was just sitting there. He was the one cleaning out the light bulb. His girlfriend was washing the walls, because DHS tests the walls for residue.
Oh.
So she's washing the walls, and that's what she told me, and that I will never forget it. And then my boyfriend, he just wanted to get high. He was a fiend, and I had no clue. You know what I mean? And then so and that's kind of bad on him for like preying on me like that, but because I was so young. But and then one of my good buddies showed up, and it like we've gone to concerts together. We knew each other really well, like for years at this point. And I was like, everything got better, and that's when it got worse. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh well, if this dude's here doing this, I'm not in such a bad place. That was the first time I ever did drugs.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hard drugs, anyway. So.
And then after that, you said you just started getting in trouble immediately.
Skipping school, did online, and then when I started online, that's when I was immediately like hooked. Like, I was on, after I started online, I failed high school at our high school because of that. And so it was a long journey from there. But and then I was hooked for about, I want to say, a solid 4 years. And then the most clean time that I've had was when I went up to New Mexico with my dad. But other than
Is that
that,
where you were doing movies during that time?
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
that was that like a sober time for you? Okay,
Yeah, it was like my safe haven.
okay.
Because even, even when I wasn't, like, when I wasn't at a trap house, I was at my mom's house, and that was just as bad. Like, she wasn't on drugs, but she was so abusive and so horrible that it was worth going somewhere else.
Going through alcoholism, all that.
Yeah, but she was like, I don't even know how she's still alive, but it was pretty bad. And she's not just like an alcoholic, like she's like the pass out drunk, like wake up, start screaming and throwing shit and all that stuff. And like I remember like 2 days after I got my lip pierced, she punched me in the face. Like type of abuse.
Dang.
Yeah. So, but other than that, that's how it all started. And then I remember when I was I think I was 19 or 20, I came home to tell her the news because I was pregnant. She kicked me out of the house. And so I spent my whole pregnancy homeless.
Okay, that's when it started then.
Yeah, well, that was partial to it because I was already homeless. I went home to tell her, like, hey, you're going to be a grandma. And she was like, get the fuck out of my house.
I got you.
Yeah, so, and I was like, okay, well, and then, yeah.
How long have you been partially homeless up until that point?
From that point, so I was homeless after that for a good, probably about 8 months. 7.5 actually, I want to say. And then when my belly started showing, that's when she let me back in the house. So
Okay.
yeah.
She started to kind of take care of you at that point, or
Yeah, it was iffy. It was rough, but
still abusive?
still a piece of shit. And even after the baby was born, she was still a piece of shit. So
You're with her now, currently?
yeah, and yeah. It's better now, but she broke her shoulder, and I kind of had to swoop in, like as I do.
Sounds like it's still a lot of pain there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something I can't change, so.
Yeah.
But and it sucked always going to a friend's house because, like, it's like a happy, loving family, and, like,
So you went out and started using and started to partially go homeless a little bit, off and on, I'm guessing?
Yeah,
like you would
off and on.
go out to the streets and then come back home and then go out again?
Yeah.
And you said this is throughout that 4 years when you met your daughter's husband?
Daughter's dad.
Or sorry, daughter's dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when I met him, we were hobos, like dirty, grimy, disgusting. Also, it was like the cracked out, like, homeless version of Barbie and Ken, though. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good looking dude, and I'm,
Yeah,
and I luckily I had a car, so it wasn't that bad. But he was like the grimy, like, staying at houses that had no power, shitting anywhere, like, yeah, eating out a Safeway's dumpster because they throw out all their food. That was gross.
Did you find good stuff?
There was some good stuff
Was
in
there?
there. Yeah, but I was also pregnant, so I was starving to death.
Oh,
So,
man.
but
Yeah.
yeah, and that was not fun. And I remember one time we were at this trap house. It was like a hobo trap house, and he was so mean to me though the whole time. Like, if there was food, he would eat it, and then if luckily it was during the pandemic, so we had a little bit of money.
Coming in from the checks and everything?
Yeah, well, the stimulus checks, and we filed for unemployment during the pandemic because it was like a certain amount of money during, and so we'd get hotel rooms. That was nice, but yeah, and if I didn't pay for food, we wouldn't eat, kind of guy. Like, so that was not fun. But we were at this trap house, and I remember he wouldn't get out and open a gate so I could leave. And I got out, and my car was still in reverse. My door bent backwards because there was a tree right there, and so my door wouldn't shut. So we finally got it shut.
Yeah.
And I had to crawl through my window, pregnant as all get out.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was so pregnant, I couldn't even go that way. So I had to. Yeah, it was so bad.
Holy cow.
And yeah, we actually lived on. There was this trap house right next to City Market. It's actually like somewhere. It's right down there actually, and. The owner of it, he was really sweet. His name was Justin, but I do remember they let us have the basement because obviously I was with child, so they were so cool, but his parents just died, but he's not all there, so it was like this weird thing. And they let me live in the basement, but even though it was summertime, it was so cold in that freaking like all concrete wet basement. There were spiders everywhere. It was horrible. I remember at one night I got so cold that I like my whole body would tense up and start shaking like this, and it sent me into a seizure like three nights in a row.
Oh my gosh, with
Pregnant.
a baby?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was so pregnant I couldn't even make it up the stairs, and he was such a piece of shit that I'd be screaming his name and he would not come. There would be 20 people up there and nobody cared. So.
In a lot of these situations, everybody's, I'm guessing, kind of spun out of their mind a little bit, or
Either that or they're just hungry, they're just hot, there's always something.
They're in survival mode themselves.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about anybody.
Yeah.
And they're all on drugs, and it was horrible. So
you had your baby. Was this kind of what happened? What was your turning point?
My turning point, I had my daughter, and after I had her, I stopped smoking cigarettes, I quit drugs.
She was it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and that's I am who I am because of her, so. And now she's 4. So
she's kept you going.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
What was the transition like for you? Like that, it was a cold turkey kind of thing, or?
Yeah, it had to be. It was definitely that. And then, which, I mean, it was hard at first, and then there's a couple relapses throughout the time, but there would be periodically times, but other than that, I mean, it, like, once, like, if you could quit cigarettes cold turkey, drugs is no different. I've never been to rehab, never been to any of that stuff, so it was, like, super easy for me because I had a reason, but... like Jasmine from work, she tells me, she's like, well, she's like, you're lucky to make it out. And I was like, yeah, well, I did that. But other than that, I'm trying to remember, we would stay out in the Red Canyon a lot. We would go camping a lot, just stay out in my car and just stake out for the night because there's nothing else we could do, so that sucked. But
what do you mean? What was sucked about it?
A lot of the times we wouldn't have enough gas or food or drugs. So it was just kind of like one of those things where we're just stuck where we were.
Is this the going sober part, or is this in general while you were homeless?
This is while I was homeless.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But, I mean, being sober, I love being sober.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sober now, and I love it.
It's such an extreme lifestyle to go from one end to completely sober cold turkey.
Yeah.
Like, what that must have been, like, difficult?
It was hard because, like, when you're under the influence, you have to, like, you don't care what's around you. Like, and being homeless, like, going from dumpster diving to being in a house with all the trash you got from the dumpster, there's a lot of cleaning and maintenance that you have to do, including, like, even on yourself. Like, you have to just, like, I had to cut all my dreads off. My hair was like this short, you know what I mean? I had to, my from here to here are fake, I have fake teeth now and no molars. Just, there's a lot of maintenance to it, and I had to clean my house out completely, throw everything away, just all of it. It's just because it was all garbage. So, other than that, I mean, if you want to do anything, you could do it though. Like, when I started all this, I was shy. I wouldn't speak up for myself. I wasn't ever loud. I wasn't ever proud. After being homeless, I am loud and I am proud, and I will not let anybody walk all over me though, at all. By any means. Also, because when you're homeless, people treat you like shit. Like, they don't care. They, cops harass you. They make fun of you. Like, one of the trap houses that I was staying at, it was just really an abandoned house. They called it the kook house, the crazy house. Yeah, but now that I went through all of that, I feel like it gave me my voice, and that was really important. when you're put in a situation where you have nothing to lose, and people like you, when you're at your lowest, your weakest, and people will still try to test you. That's where you find your strength, 100%. And so,
What was it like being a woman out there?
it sucked. But also, girls had a lot more privilege than men. So if like, especially, when you're pregnant, or like some people would just show up to the houses and just bring us food, just because like they knew I had a baby. But I mean, yeah, so that was, for a woman, it's not so bad, and I feel like I'm so unapproachable as is, like in general, that I wasn't approached in any foul manners, no, nothing like that happened ever, so thank God for that. But also, I like, as much as I did hang out with the homeless community, I was off brand. Like, I was over here and they were here.
Okay.
I do remember, that reminds me, there was this house, we call him Naked Robert. So somebody that was caregiving for him got him all spun out on drugs, and he used to lay in bed naked all the time. And then by the time that he was about to die, like he had oxygen tubes, somebody got him hooked on drugs, and he was out and about and up and yelling and proud and just out of bed, dressed with his clothes on. And so, I mean, pros and cons, but I remember that house very much. That was like, it got good and then it got bad there. I think somebody was killed there.
While you were there?
No, I wasn't there, thank God. But I knew everybody involved. I knew who died. I knew like who got shot. You know what I mean? There's been times people have been so ruthless and disgusting, and I'm pretty sure it was over like $120. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but
what was the main vein of trauma that you experienced on a daily basis? Like, maybe not
the love
most...
of my life not caring about me or our child, not caring if we were fed, if we were warm, if we had anything. He didn't care. And that was traumatic for me. So, and although like it was a choice to be there, it was also like, no matter what happens, we're a family, so that was traumatic for me, because like, and then when I was 8 months pregnant, he went to prison. So we lived in a storage unit at some point. That was all right. But other than that, it was that was trauma. So
You were there for him?
And in every way possible. Absolutely.
Like, you literally followed him there. Is that correct?
He led me there, we'll say. Yeah. And I followed, yeah. Absolutely. Because in my mind, I was like, everything will be fine. I don't know how I thought it was going to be fine, but it was fine for me, and he went to prison for 4 years, so.
After all this?
Yeah.
And that's about the same time you got sober?
Yes. That was another traumatic thing, is like, and then he gets out expecting a family, and I was like, no, you kind of traumatized me to the point to where I don't want to be around you at all.
So you had your baby, he went to jail. Prison. These kind of things intersected to be really helpful for...
Actually, it turned out great. Yeah.
Changed everything.
Honest to God, yeah. It turned out incredibly. But at the time, I was like, oh gosh, what am I going to do?
How would you describe your life now?
My life now? Oh my gosh, it's peaches and cream. I love it. I'm happy. I have a good group of people around me. And maybe that's why I am so accepting of just like, Jasmine, everybody, all of my friends that I have now that I hold dearly to, is because of that. But yeah, I have good friends, good family, good money. I have a job that I love. I have a stable house. We actually redid the inside of my house, so now it's like livable. I'm closer with my family than I've ever been, ever. So that's also a good thing. I get to watch my nephew grow up, and just fun stuff.
Can I ask you something more complicated? What do you think of the homeless crisis? Like, is this a culture that we should preserve? Is it a place that people should have access to, or is it something that needs to be solved, or is it?
That's a good question, actually, and I like that question, because when I was homeless personally, there was people that were there by choice. You know, good, grade A, like standard, good, loving, caring families at home. Like, just it was due to like being under the influence that they were there. So that was a thing. Also, yeah, I would say there's some people out there that need help. Like, they're either not all there, they just need some love, they just need some care. But also, in a situation like that, my first instinct was not to go get a job. There was no way, you know. And my second instinct was like survival. Like, and a lot of these people that I do know, they're just so under the influence, hooked on drugs, hooked on like this, they don't know where to start, you know what I mean? So like, they, even if they had all of the means to start, they wouldn't even know how or where or what to do, where to go. They don't have much, and there's so many resources, like, well, mildly in Canyon, but there's resources where they can get it together if that's what they wanted, but some of them just don't want it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say, and I can't speak for everybody, but like, I know at least every single homeless person has been like, fuck this shit, you know, I'm gonna go do the best I can, go get a job, go find a house, go, you know, make amends with my family or something, you know. They've all done that at some point. I thought that, at least, but it's not that easy. So it's hard to say, really. But I believe that everybody is worth giving love, though. So
Yeah.
because I'm also religious.
I've got a theory that that it's part of the problem is that when you're enclosed in that kind of culture and community, that you have only, like, most of the offers that you get throughout a day are to do more drugs. Or like
people get
attempt.
stuck,
Yeah.
because that's all they care about, you know. And once, so for me, once I was homeless, the world was mine. Like this, like, not per se this, but like, I could go anywhere at any time, and anything was mine. Anything, you know, anybody I can make friends with, anybody I could do anything anywhere. But after a certain point where, like, per se for me, I was like trying to start a family, so it was like, okay, I can't just like do that anymore. So that it's really hard to say, honestly.
Yeah.
But
If you maybe could speculate, how many sober people inviting you to do sober, healthy activities would it have taken for you to take an invitation?
honestly, okay, this is a
Maybe
really
at the
good
worst
question,
of it.
So when I was in active addiction, it disgusted me, like, within my self-worth, when somebody sober was like, hey, let's go out and do something normal, fun, like, let's do this. And I would be like, you know, I'd be like, absolutely not. Like, I am beyond repair at this given moment, and I'm not gonna do it. Like, and I would never show up, I would never go anywhere, I wouldn't even reply to their messages. Not in the sense of like abandoning that person, not that they weren't worth it. It was the fact that I wasn't worth it. So
Yeah.
it's really just based off of my self-worth. And I knew, like, I'm not gonna show up at this place cracked out of my fucking mind, you know what I mean?
So
Around good people that actually care, you know.
So in a way, you kind of felt like they were lying to you. Like, you weren't. They were saying you're worth it to come hang out with
Yeah.
me, and you were saying no, I'm not.
I'm really not, like. And that was a big, and that is probably what kept me stuck for such a long time, actually, now that I think about it.
So what would it take then, do you think, for us that to flip a switch? For like, how many people would it take, or what would they have to do for or with you
I could think of some that are totally willing, like, that would be just so down for it. And then I could think of another handful that's just like would completely ruin the experience, you know what I mean? Like, get so insecure, like super insecure for sure. But
like they wouldn't be able socially to hang?
Yeah, or socially even have a conversation. But I mean, for me, my recovery time of being like sober for the first time after being homeless was a good year and a half, until I could finally like feel confident within myself to like talk to people. Like, even I got my social media back because, you know, it was like obviously an unsafe thing for me to even have social media because it like, you know, it's way too risky. And I didn't, at that point, I kind of just said, fuck everybody. Like, I hate everybody on any account that I have because if you, like, you would look on my account and it would just be people, 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 people. You got this, you got that, you got this, you got that, you know, and just for miles long.
So there was
So,
a ton of support then when you decided to come back.
yeah, well, good support, of course. Yeah, I mean, me being in my situation, I didn't have really much any of support. Like, and I know this sounds really like selfish, but
Oh, I
I
misheard
had.
that completely. I apologize.
Oh yeah, okay. You see what I'm saying though?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I didn't want social media because all of the bad shit that was on there, and especially within my messages and just people hitting me up. Hey, you got this? You know, hey, you
Okay.
know, or like, hey, you wanna come do this? I got this. You wanna come hang out? Like that is what, yeah, that's what kept me stuck too. But because like once you're homeless, you thrive. Like there's people that have found loopholes and loopholes and loopholes, absolutely insane loopholes sometimes, like, and it's crazy.
To help them survive out there
Yeah,
and
but
be unhealthy.
it be unhealthy, be unproductive. Like if you know a guy, then you don't have to worry about money, you don't have to worry about, you know, it's just crazy. It really is.
So what's the solution in your mind? Since you've been through it, I mean, you must have an idea.
Luckily for me, I had, you know, I had a place to go sober. Like I had a loving, caring family at home, so that's where it was for me. And of course, I had my baby girl, and yeah, but I mean, some of these people don't have that little light of sunshine, you know.
So
So
components for somebody who wants to get out of that situation is going to be love and safety
love, comfort, safety, reassurance, a lot of reassurance. I know it's still a battle that I have, but to feel trustworthy again. Like, you know, if you put somebody like in a situation, per se, they have food, they have comfort, they have love. The risky situation is, are they going to take advantage of that, or can they be trustworthy? And when somebody's really trying, like, no matter what you do or say, it comes to a point where somebody will accuse you of, like, hey, like, did you move this? Did you take this? And you're like, are you high again? Like my mom hits me with that all of the time. And it'll be times where I'm trying my ass off, you know, to prove in every which way that I am sober. You know, I am doing the right thing, and she still does not believe me. So that's a hard thing. So a lot of trust has to be given, but with limits. And I would say that's mainly important.
including to yourself.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Um, and honestly, within each person, I think it's a really, like, a really strong thing to, like, they need to believe that they could do this, that they should be there, and that they're worthy enough, that they should love themselves enough to, or even if it's for nobody. For me, it was for my daughter. Like, it should be for themselves. But that's, I think, therapy, offered therapy services, because without my therapy services, I would have never realized any of this about myself, about, like, a one-on-one therapy, you know. I think that would be most helpful because it starts within, for sure. I thought like I was singled out, but I kind of singled myself out though. You know, like I knew I was better. I knew I could have been doing better, but there wasn't enough like emotional support per se in my life to where I could been like rely on somebody, like go cry to somebody or tell them like what I'm going through and them understand it and help me out and work backwards, you know, instead of just pushing through. So that was also helpful.
Can I ask you one more complicated question?
Sure.
Um, let's say somebody's out there just like you and they're kind of on the cusp of making that decision to reach out to their family and make amends with them, or step out of the situation that they're in whatever capacity, go to a safe, comfortable house where they're taken care of, anything like that, but they're not sure if they want to be sober. What advice would you give them with the
Medication.
perspective that you have?
Get medicated. I think if they are struggling, there's shots out there that you could take that it reverses the effect of opiates. That's a start. So even if they did relapse, it would be for nothing. I would say, medications out there, anxiety, depression, a lot of like these problems root from like trauma, from loneliness, from all of the feelings that you get as a kid, like feeling unworthy, unappreciated. A lot of it roots from trauma, or just there's a lack thereof somewhere in within their whole, like something that they have focused on, that took them down to the point to where they were where they're at. And I feel like it would be important to get medicated. And I know it sounds really kind of messed up, but I think it's helpful to get diagnosed.
An extreme answer to an extreme situation.
Yeah, because why else would they be out there smoking crack? Like if there's ways around it, they're coping for something that's like not there, something that happened, something that they don't have, and it's got to be emotionally, psychologically, somewhere they've been abused.
Between them and hard drugs, there was no safety net, but they
Yeah.
needed a solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then once you fall into that pit of like, well, if I'm already here, like a pit of disgust, like pit of like, okay, I'm not worthy at all anymore, then that's they're already there, so might as well like thrive, make friends, and there is a point where I felt free, like I felt like nobody cared. What's the point? Like nobody cares what happens to me right now, and that feels good sometimes. You're looking for something. You're being something that you're looking for, or per se like
You are small, so you disappear, so it feels good.
yeah,
It's like compliments what you already
isolation.
think about yourself.
Yeah, like I felt small my whole life. You know what I mean? So yeah, that would totally make sense. It's like yeah.
So maybe you could speak to the larger audience to this of what do you think's holding back people from doing more?
Doing more with their lives.
Yeah, if I had to put a finger on it, I would say there's a certain amount of social awkwardness that comes with, like maybe people care, like they do care, but they don't know how to approach a homeless person and say, hey, I want to help this situation out. Like, what do you think of that? Or not my answer, but
It's a good. I see what you're saying. So, like, my best, like, if I ever have to deal with like that kind of situation ever, because it's more often than not. You'd be surprised. Like, since I've been there, I kind of know. Like, their mind is altered already if they're on drugs. So if they're on drugs, like, the best thing to do is just laugh and bullshit with them. Like, don't take them serious. Don't take anything serious. Just laugh with them. Like, crack a joke here and there. Compliment them. Just like that's what I do. I'll just say something silly, say something funny, like, like, are you gonna, like, if they're walking, or if they need a ride, like, are you gonna put them Crocs in sports mode, or something funny that'll just make them laugh, and that's like, it's a comfort thing for me, and it works a charm, and then just get the bullshitting with them, like, just be like, you from around here, what's up, buddy, like, you need anything, you good, like, you wanna chit chat, you want a beer, like, anything, and that seems to help immensely.
yeah. Some of these videos I've been seeing of people doing things like this have been
But whatever you do, just don't judge them, like, just absolutely, like, oh, I think I broke this bench, bro. We're good. Okay. Yeah, just don't be harsh. And since they're at such an unserious point in their life, they there's more likely of a chance that they don't take anything serious.
anyway.
But and if you do, like, gift them per se with food or a ride, they're gonna be the most appreciative people, more than likely, like probably like 8 times out of 10. So that's from my experience, anyways.
What would you ask of people who are in healthier situations?
What do you mean?
What would you ask them to do to help solve this or work with this? Acknowledge it. What do you want from them?
That's a good question.
Is it a big enough problem that everybody needs to notice and do something about it, or is it?
I'm really religious, so I agree. But there's also a turn in fate where, like ill will and per se karma or wrath or whichever it may be, sometimes people end up in situations that they're supposed to be there. Like, and it's out of our control completely, whether they keep putting themselves there or, but other times, like, you'll find that one person that is just either not all there or just completely manipulated to be there, or just there because they're just an addict. Like, per se, my case, I was just an addict and I was literally there. You know what I mean? And I don't think I would be to blame for that, to be honest, because it rooted from deep other stuff, which therapy helped me the most. But with these people over here, no matter how many times they get out of prison, no matter how many times that they get out of rehab, no matter how many times, they still choose to be wicked. And whether it be their nervous system is regulated that way, or they're just terrible people because they've seen patterns, abusive, like they've been abused, or they're just awful people. And those are the ones that you cannot help. And maybe, the best I would say way to shoot them is like either prison or God. Like, and other than that, it's just going to be repeating. But with the good ones, they'll choose. They know that they're not supposed to be there. They know they're struggling, but they don't hold that upon. Like, they don't punish anybody for it. They don't hurt anybody. Like, they're just there because that's what they have to do to live, like, to keep their heart beating. So I think there's a fine line between knowing the difference between the wicked and the people who just need out of there.
What are the
and they decide, because
if you had to guess, what are the ratios there? Unhelpable versus helpable.
in my mind, I could think of and see, I've seen it happen. So I could think of maybe a clique of, in my head right now, I could think of maybe like 4 to 8 people that are just never gonna change. That's who they are. Somebody's already taken them, if you know what I mean. But the ones that I could think of, they've already attempted to do good. Like, they're already up there. Like, some of them have jobs now. Other ones, like, I just recently gave one of my buddies a car because he was out and about. We've known each other for a long time, and that helped him immensely, and he has been thriving since. So there is little things that help, and I've noticed a difference. Like, the ratio, I would say there's a group of good ones, like, and they're slightly doing better than they were since the last times I seen them, but there's an awful group. So I would say maybe like
out of 10.
Out of 10, okay, probably 4 over here in the bad side and 6 or 7 over here. So
it's almost down
in
the
those
middle.
numbers, yeah.
Okay.
And
that might be where they're at in life too.
Yeah, and yeah, it could be situational, but yeah, and I will say, although that I knew I wasn't supposed to be where I was at, some of the people that I met when I was homeless, I do not have any regrets at all whatsoever. Not a single regret. Some of the greatest people I've ever met, I met homeless, so, and they will do anything for you. So they'll take their shirt off their back, or whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
So
literally, probably.
no, literally.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so cool.
Yeah.